As you all know, we had a pretty horrific homicide a couple days ago when we lost a young member of our community who was brutally murdered in her apartment and her baby infant taken. I'm really proud to announce today that the little girl was recovered safely by members of the Houston Police Department last night in the middle of the night, probably a little bit after 1 a.m., somewhere in that area. The baby's healthy. She was quickly transported to Texas Children's Hospital for a full checkup, and we did that as a precautionary measure. We didn't see any signs of abuse or injury, but we wanted to make sure that we had the health professionals check on baby Shamali. She's doing well, and she's currently in the custody of CPS. With me this morning, obviously, our Executive Assistant Chiefs, our homicide leadership cadre, Special Agent Charge Turner from the FBI, and Special Agent Williams, who's his number 2. Last night, investigative efforts led detectives of the Houston Police Department, along with SWAT and a lot of other assets, including our intelligence folks and our patrol folks and a lot of people, to the Windscape Apartments located at 9707 South Gesner. After a coordinated canvass involving the Homicide Division, the FBI, our SWAT team patrol officers, detectives were alerted to a suspicious male and a female holding a newborn outside building number 32, possibly attempting to leave the area. Based off pictures, detectives quickly determined the infant child was that of Shamali Flores. Again, she was taken to the hospital, and she's been determined to be very healthy and unharmed, and currently in the custody of CPS. After interviews with homicide detectives, Erica, E-R-I-K-A, Gisela, J-I-S-E-L-A, Miranda, M-I-R-A-N-D-A hyphen Alvarez with a Z at the end, was charged with capital murder for the brutal murder of Carolina Miranda Flores on December 19, 2017. The suspect's boyfriend has not been charged at this time, although he's still under investigation. Early indications suggest that the suspect was friends with Carolina Flores Miranda, Miranda's brother, which is how she connected with our victim, and that she recently had a miscarriage in which she was attempting to hide from her boyfriend. The real work now really continues for our investigators. They need to piece together every single piece of this complex puzzle to make sure that we not only have an arrest and a charge, but to have a conviction. We owe that to the family of this little baby, to her older brothers and sisters. She has 3 of them, is my recollection, older brothers and sisters, and we obviously owe it to the deceased victim and her extended family. I want to just say, first and foremost, to everyone up here, congratulations. It was phenomenal work. Our FBI partners, they are phenomenal partners, whether it's everyday crime, homeland security issues, counterterrorism issues, drug trafficking organizations, whatever the threat that may be, including violent crime. They are always here with us, and regardless of what we might hear on the national level, I can tell you that there is no finer partner than the FBI here in the city of Houston, state of Texas, or on the national level. So before I complete my comments, I'm going to ask Special Agent Charge Turner to say a few words on behalf of the FBI.
Thank you, Chief, for your kind words, and I echo your comments about the great partnership that we have here in Houston. In my 26 years of law enforcement experience in 8 different field offices, this has been the best partnership that I have been a part of, and I want to thank you for your leadership as well as your team here in Houston. The Federal Bureau of Investigation offers our condolences to the Flores family, as well as our relief that baby Shamali was found quickly. I'd like to take this moment to talk about the importance of partnerships, both between law enforcement agencies and the public. These are essential in keeping our community safe. The Federal Bureau of Investigation strives to have a strong partnership with other law enforcement agencies. We cannot be who we are without strong, effective partnerships. The quick partnering between the Houston Police Department and the FBI to help recover baby Shamali illustrates the strong alliance between our 2 agencies. On behalf of the men and women of the FBI Houston, thank you, HPD, for your continued dedication and for your outstanding work. We are honored to be standing alongside of you. Also want to say a heartfelt thanks to the public as well as the media. Thank you for calling in with information, being willing to talk to law enforcement, and working with us to help keep the people in America safe. Our greatest weapon is unity. Because we stand together, we are smarter and stronger than us standing alone by ourselves. Last but not least, I want to thank the FBI employees here in Houston, the FBI employees from outside of Houston, those who deployed at a moment's notice, and those who support this recovery from their home office. Thank you, and job well done. Thank you.
You know, one of the things that I want to point out here is that both of these complexes are predominantly Hispanic, predominantly immigrant complexes, and we know that, as we've said time and again, the challenges for law enforcement when we try to divide, especially local law enforcement and even the FBI, whose primary mission is public safety and homeland security, criminal investigations, not immigration enforcement. It makes it challenging sometimes when people are afraid. But in this case, we've worked really diligently as a police department to continue to build bridges with our community. We have a mayor and a council that talks about how welcoming our city is, and that people that, regardless of their immigration status, are welcome here, that the police department is going to focus on going after criminals. I am. Let me finish my stuff in English and then I'll move to Spanish. And in this case, a theory was developed early on by our investigators about motive. If you recall, we talked about this is probably a woman that either lost a baby recently or that was desperate to have a child. This proved to be accurate. This woman was due to have a baby in January, and she lost that baby, never was there to deliver that baby. She continued to faint and to fake her pregnancy with loved ones. And then at some point, actually on December 19th, she went to the home of our victim and actually brutalized or murdered her. The part about the theory in terms of someone knowing the complex, someone knowing the family, I think some of the key information that we were able to gather, our investigators in this very diverse police department is reflective of this community. They were able to get information that made them believe that it was somebody that knew the complex, knew the family, and was familiar with the area. Everything that our outstanding investigators theorized turned out to be true. But a big part of that relied on community policing, on community trust, and because a lot of those early interviews that we did in that complex helped us clue us in on what we were dealing with. And so I bring that up because, but for our ability to be able to build that relationship, to tear down the mistrust, to try to get people out of the shadows and into the light, to be full participants as it relates to our collective safety, you know, we wouldn't have developed those theories early on in this investigation. That's something we should be really happy about. The other thing I want to just really show and showcase in this case is that the family of this victim is a family that is not rich. As a matter of fact, they're a very humble family in terms of being probably in the lower socioeconomic scale. Don't even know about their immigration status, even though we know they're immigrants, because we're not interested. But for those that say that law enforcement doesn't care about people of color, for those that say that law enforcement doesn't care about poor people, let me just say this. This child was born into a poor family. This child was taken from a family of color. This child was taken from an immigrant family. And our investigators didn't care about color. They didn't care about ethnicity. They didn't care about religion. They didn't care about economic standing. They didn't care about immigration standing. All they cared about is justice. Justice for a fellow human being. And I'm proud to say that this police department that serves a city that's really led by a mayor who gets it in terms of caring about our fellow human beings demonstrated that this child mattered. It mattered to the family, it mattered to us. And I'm proud to stand before the people of Houston to say the FBI cared, the Houston Police Department cared, our patrol officers cared, our SWAT team cared, our special investigations cared, our intelligence division cared, and they cared about this child. And I think it's really important to point that out because this is not an anomaly. This is absolutely what we do, not just here in Houston, throughout the country. So with that, I'm going to open it up to questions, but please Remember, this is an ongoing investigation, and our number one priority is going to be to make sure we see this thing through fruition and that we don't do anything to jeopardize the charges, the capital murder charges against our primary suspect, who I think I already spelled out her name for you all, right? And excuse me, did I say her her age?
No.
Okay. She's 28 years of age. Erica Gisela Miranda-Alvarez, 28 years old. And now real quick in Spanish, to be fair, because this is, again, it took a community of immigrants to help us develop some more early theories in this case.
What's that situation like?
She did not put up a fight. She was cooperative. She cooperated with investigators. But you know, it's hard to put up a fight when you have you know, a lot of cops in a
Did she
location.
confess?
Huh?
Did she confess to what she?
I'm not going to talk about exactly what she said or didn't say. That's part of the ongoing
Can
investigation.
you
How
talk
long
about
has
the
she
call
known
for
this
the
Flores? How long has
suspicious?
she known the family?
She had, I think they all came to this country probably about 5 years ago, is my recollection. And so she befriended the victim's brother. That's how she got to know the family. And she'd been acquainted with the acquaintance of the family, and to an extent, friends of the family for about 5 years.
So is it someone in the neighborhood that called 911 last night? Can you talk more about the suspicious
I'm sorry,
call?
what?
Did someone who lives in that complex in Southwest Houston call in the suspicious couple? Can you talk more about who turned them in?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, I
Yeah.
thought you said.
She said someone reported a couple.
No, we spotted, while we were there, our investigation led us to that complex. And while we were there with all our assets, including SWAT, patrol, intelligence, you name a unit, they were there. Myself, and that's when one of our detectives spotted this couple with a baby. It appeared to our detective that the couple was trying to leave the area, and they were detained. Once they were detained, obviously we had a lot of pictures of baby Somali, and we were able to, from that point forward, proceed with our investigation, question the couple, detain the couple, and ultimately were able to make the arrest, recover the child, take her to the hospital, and have her evaluated.
How did you zero in on that complex? Was it like you said
Oh,
yesterday?
we don't talk
calling
about,
people,
listen,
telling people
let me
to-
just say something. This won't be the last, this isn't the first baby that was, you know, I know that everybody, and we've had this conversation, right? Everybody else want to know how we made the case, how we found the person. And I'm not going to tell you that, because we know that from the CSI effect of all these stinking television shows that forensic evidence is getting harder and harder to find because people watch television. So if you figure out a way to find out how we found them, that's on you. But I'm not going to share that information, because the next child that is kidnapped, the next woman that's murdered, the next victim that's victimized by a violent criminal, I want to make sure that we don't educate criminals on what to do to not get caught. So to me, I can just tell you that we are 100% confident that this is a suspect.
Can you
How
tell
did
us
she
if
explain
boyfriend,
to
if
you
he
that
said anything about the baby?
knew
Like
anything?
when he came home? I mean, did he just
Yeah,
say
we're not going to talk
something?
about that. She brought the baby home from the hospital, because she was supposed to have the baby in January, and so she brought him home from the hospital.
So he didn't know anything about this. He just assumed this was his baby.
He's not been completely eliminated. He's cooperative, but that's what I'm going to say on
And
that.
was
He has
the
not
one
been
with
charged.
her? He was the one with her at the time. When you say she was with her boyfriend, this
Yes.
Korean couple, that was him.
Yes,
Has the murder weapon been recovered?
that's part of the investigation. We're not going to talk about it.
Chief, I have a couple of questions for you. The first, you mentioned that they've been friends for about 5 years.
Acquaintance for about 5 years.
Acquaintance for 5 years. So is there a sense then that Ms. Flores, that she felt comfortable around this woman?
Oh, she was known to the suspect. Yeah, they knew each other.
Did she break in?
No.
How long
Now, if
did
there
she
was a
was
break-in,
there?
we probably wouldn't be talking about, we think that somebody knew her, but no, she did not. Anything else?
She
How
also
long
been
did
charged
she
with
have a
kidnapping.
miscarriage? I mean, how long had she been
That's-
pregnant?
Just a matter of a couple of weeks.
And
Will
Chief,
she be charged with kidnapping eventually as well?
Well, that's going to be up to the DA, but just a matter, a capital murder is, there's no higher charge in the state of Texas than capital murder, and it can lead to the death penalty, so. But everything that we have, that we theorized, that our detectives theorized, turned out to be spot on. Hey, man, this is a joyous occasion because, you know, when a mother's brutally, we can't bring her back. We cannot bring her back. Our detectives know that when they walked in there. But once you know a baby was missing, there wasn't a member of this department that didn't want to recover that baby. There wasn't a member of the FBI that was involved that wanted to recover the baby. And so, while we mourn for that mom, they'll never see her daughter grow up. You'll never see her daughter, walk, run the first time your child tells you, I love you. You'll never get to see that. And, on the other flip side of the coin, that daughter will never get to hear all that stuff from her mother, but we brought her back, and that's the most important part.
And that's the question I was going to ask you on a personal level, because so many people were praying and so hopeful that this little girl would be okay. When you learned that indeed she was okay, she was safe, what did that moment mean to you?
Well, we were all there together. I was there with our detectives last night, and there was a lot of smiles. There were a lot of, because of all fist bumping. We're all sick. We don't want to spread it around, but it was a very joyous occasion for all of us when we saw that little angel just sitting there that doesn't have a clue of what's going on. But I think that I can tell you this guy hasn't gone to sleep. He hasn't gone to sleep. I don't think he shaved either. But it was a great moment, But when you can find a silver lining out of the tragedy, as this, a young woman who's brutally murdered, I mean, you got to take what you can, and that's what I think keeps our sanity here as police officers. You always look for that silver lining, and we were just real hopeful. We knew that the baby, chances were it was still alive, and the sooner we found her, the better. And God, she'd still be in the Houston area. They were right. These people were phenomenal on their theories here.
And were
Two
the
more
other three
questions.
children present in the home at the time of the murder?
No.
Can you
No.
elaborate on whether she was trying to keep her boyfriend with her, like he was going to leave her, or if she just wanted a baby for herself?
You know what? I can't elaborate at that. The bottom line is she was pregnant. She was due in January. She lost a baby. She did not share the fact that she lost her baby with anyone. She continued to pretend that she was pregnant. And at one point, she made people believe she had given birth, but the baby was ill at the hospital. And then, lo and behold, on December 19th, she showed up with a baby and pretended that it was hers. And so, again, we just want to thank the community. I want to thank everyone standing up here. You are our heroes. You've made a difference. You make a difference every day, and I want to just tell you I'm really proud of you. So, Merry Christmas, everybody. God bless you all. Thanks for the prayers.